The security cameras captured every second. Susan Harper's smug sneer as she stormed into my backyard gathering. Her piercing scream as she plunged into the deep end of the pool. And the moment the tide turned. What started as an audacious trespass escalated into a lawsuit that would unearth secrets neither of us anticipated. Susan thought she'd hit the jackpot when the process server knocked on my door. She had no clue I'd recorded everything, that her own lawyer would soon become my greatest asset. The bass from Ethan's sound system thumped through the windows of his cozy two-story home, the Saturday night barbecue buzzing with life. String lights cast a golden glow over the backyard, where 20-somethings laughed and clinked glasses, celebrating another week's end. Ethan Park adjusted the pool lights, the water gleaming like liquid emerald under the night sky. "Yo, Ethan," his college buddy Ryan shouted, juggling a plate of ribs. "This setup's next level, man. When do you become the neighborhood party king?" Ethan grinned, cracking open a beer. 60-hour weeks at the law firm pay for some sweet perks. He nodded toward the immaculate pool area, hot tub, outdoor kitchen, lush landscaping, the whole deal. After this week's cases, I needed to blow off steam. Speaking of steam, his girlfriend, Olivia, said, sliding up with a knowing glance, "Didn't you say your neighbor's been giving you hell about the noise?" Ethan's jaw tightened. "Susan Harper. Lives in the blue house next door. She's called the cops 3 times this month, filed HOA complaints, even tried to get the city to slap me with a disturbance fine. Thing is, I've checked the ordinance we's good until 11. Ryan took a swig. Divorced, empty nester, nothing better to do than play noise police. Olivia nodded. She showed up last week, demanding Ethan stop the racket because it was targeting her. Ethan shook his head. I invited her to join us once. She acted like I'd offered her a snake. A sharp clang on the front gate cut through the music. The party hummed on, but Ethan felt a familiar dread knot his stomach. He navigated through the crowd, past couples dancing near the pool, to the side yard where his 6-foot privacy fence met Susan's property. Ethan Park. Her voice sliced through the evening, shrill and grating. "I know you're out there." Ethan glanced at Ryan, who'd tagged along. "Here we go," he muttered. "Turn that music down now. It's 8:30 on a Saturday, and some of us have lives." Ryan whispered, "Lives? It's Saturday night." Ethan approached the fence. Voice calm, years of wrangling tough clients had honed his cool. "Hi, Susan. The music's at a legal level, and we'll wrap up by 10:30. "Legal?" Her tone spiked. "I can't hear my TV. This is harassment. I'm calling the cops again." "That's your call," Ethan said evenly. "They'll say what they said last week, we within the law." A brief silence followed, then the clatter of a ladder against the fence. Susan's perfectly styled brunette head popped up, her face twisted with righteous indignation. "I'm documenting this harassment," she declared, brandishing her phone. "Every guest, every car, every violation." Partygoers started to notice, some laughing, which only stoked her fire. She leaned farther over the fence, angling for better shots. Ethan's legal instincts flared. "You're on my property line, Susan. I need you to—" "I'm gathering evidence," she shrieked, waving her phone. "This is a public nuisance." What happened next played out like a disaster flick in slow motion. Susan, desperate for the perfect video, leaned too far. The ladder, shoddily placed, wobbled. Her eyes widened as gravity won. "Oh, hell!" Ryan gasped. Susan's arms flailed, her phone flying onto Ethan's deck with a clatter. She teetered, her face cycling through shock, fear, and fury, as if Ethan had engineered her fall. The fence, not meant to bear her weight, snapped with a crack that halted the party. Susan plummeted forward, her designer blouse catching on the splintered wood, and crashed into the deep end with a splash that soaked the deck. For a heartbeat, no one moved. The music blared on, an absurd soundtrack to the chaos. Then the backyard exploded. Did she just get her out? Ethan dove in. Neighbor or none wasn't letting her drown. He reached her as she surfaced, sputtering and thrashing. "I've got you," he said, gripping her arm. "Stop fighting." But Susan was wild, twisting and clawing his forearm. "Get off me," she screamed. "This is your fault." Ryan and 2 others helped pull her out, her soaked clothes clinging, mascara streaking like war paint. Dripping and trembling, she jabbed a finger at Ethan. "You'll pay for this. For everything. You were trespassing, Susan, Ethan said, eyeing the phone's now recording. We should call paramedics to check you. Don't tell me what to do. Her voice was unhinged. Your faulty fence collapsed. This is negligence. Assault. Olivia offered a towel, which Susan slapped away. I don't need your help. You think you can waltz into this neighborhood and ruin our lives with your money and your fancy pool? Ethan's patience frayed. I've followed every rule, invited you over, tried to be a good neighbor. You climbed my fence. Liar, she screamed. I was on the property line, documenting your harassment. The crowd murmured support for Ethan, but Susan was past caring. You'll hear from my lawyer. I'm suing you for everything: your negligence, your harassment, your existence here. She stomped to the gate, leaving a trail of water. Enjoy your party, Ethan, she spat. It'll cost you your house. The guests stood stunned, then Ryan laughed. Did that really happen? Ethan wasn't laughing. His legal mind was racing, eyes on the broken fence. Susan had declared war in his arena. She didn't know about his new security system cameras covering every angle, capturing her stunt in vivid detail. Olivia touched his arm. Call the police. Document this. Ethan nodded, grim. She'll sue. But she's in for a surprise. He checked his security app, the footage crystal clear. Susan setting up the ladder, leaning over, falling due to her own recklessness. Then he saw her phone, still on his deck, likely unlocked, still recording. A slow smile crept across his face. Tuesday morning, the doorbell rang ominously. Ethan, reviewing case files over coffee, saw a disheveled man with an envelope. Ethan Park? The man asked. You've been served. The envelope bore the name of Warner, Holt and Associates, a ruthless personal injury firm. Susan had hired heavy hitters. The 23-page complaint was a masterpiece of fiction, accusing Ethan of negligence, emotional distress, and creating a dangerous condition that caused Susan severe injuries and ongoing trauma. She demanded $250,000. Damn, Susan, Ethan muttered. You went all in. He texted a photo of the complaint to Olivia. Her call came instantly. $250,000? For a pool dunk. She claims my fence was defective, that I targeted her, Ethan said. Her lawyer's sharp. At the firm, Ethan met his boss, Catherine Reed, a silver-haired legend who thrived on high-stakes cases. She scanned the complaint with a surgeon's precision. This'll be costly or enlightening, she said. I'm betting on enlightening. Ethan shared the facts. The security footage, Susan's trespassing, her phone's live stream. Reed's eyes lit up. She recorded her own crime? This is gold. She offered a choice. Settle quietly, or let her shred Susan's case. I want the lesson, Ethan said. That afternoon, Susan's lawyer, James Warner, called, his tone slick but threatening. We can settle this quietly, Mr. Park. My client's injuries are serious, but $75,000 could cover her medical costs and pain. Avoid a messy trial. Ethan stayed neutral. That's less than the complaint. Juries are unpredictable, Warner said smoothly. Medical bills pile up. A judgment could tank your career. Ethan promised to consult his attorney. He called Reed. He's bluffing, she said. He knows his case is shaky. We dig into Susan Harper everything. Finances, medical records, social media, the works. Within 48 hours, Reed's investigators delivered a file. Susan, 47, divorced 3 years ago after a nasty battle with her ex, a top surgeon. She'd burned through her settlement, including the Blue House, in 2 years. More damning, she'd filed lawsuits against a grocery store, a diner, her former employer, and her ex's practice, all settled out of court for small sums. She's a professional plaintiff, Reed said. Susan's social media was a treasure trove. Posts about wine nights, gym sessions, and hikes days after her severe injuries. Her live stream from that night was the clincher, capturing her vow to make that smug lawyer pay as she climbed the ladder. The deposition was a massacre. Susan sat across from Ethan and Reed, flanked by Warner, both exuding confidence. Reed started gently, asking about Susan's background, letting her settle in. Then she struck. Ms. Harper, why did you climb the ladder? Susan's rehearsed answer flowed. I was documenting harassment. The music was unbearable, people everywhere. I needed evidence. Where were you when you fell? On my property line, when his shoddy fence gave way. Reed nodded, feigning empathy. Scary. You were recording video. Yes. And your phone landed on his deck? Susan faltered. The police took it. Were you live streaming? Warner tensed, but Susan answered. Maybe. To update friends on neighborhood issues. Reed produced a transcript. You said, I'm going to make this smug lawyer pay. Ring a bell. Susan blanched. That's out of context. Reed read on. I'll lean over for perfect shots. Did you plan to trespass? Warner objected, but Susan was crumbling, admitting to no therapy, no follow-ups, just minor bruising. Her past lawsuits surfaced, each settled for peanuts. Then Reed dropped the bomb. You said, even if I get hurt, it'll be worth it to nail this guy. Susan exploded, storming out, leaving Warner deflated. The courtroom clash came weeks later. Warner filed to withdraw, citing Susan's lies. Judge Margaret Klein, sharp and no-nonsense, presided over the wood-paneled room. Susan burst in, arms full of chaotic files, firing Warner for incompetence. Representing herself, she was a whirlwind of defiance, claiming Ethan had set her up. She presented her live stream, thinking it her ace. Judge Klein watched, stone-faced, as Susan's voice declared her intent to nail Ethan. Reed countered with Ethan's security footage, showing Susan's blatant trespass. Medical records, noise reports, and a property survey sealed her fate. Ms. Harper, Klein said, your video shows premeditated trespassing. The defendant's evidence confirms it. Your injuries were minor, your claims baseless. Susan's accusations grew frantic conspiracy, corruption, but Klein shut her down. The law doesn't bend for your choices. Summary judgment granted. Susan's lawsuit imploded, her credibility shattered. Ethan stood vindicated, his footage and Reed's brilliance turning her plot against her. But as he left the courtroom, Susan's final glare promised she wouldn't go quietly. The neighborhood would never be the same.